Hi everybody, and welcome to the October Hangout for the Joomla Community Google Plus Hangout. This is the way it's fallen. This is the fourth Hangout that we've now done, and it's become an official Hangout for the Joomla community, which is fantastic news. Today on the Hangout, I've got three presenters, and we're going to be dispersing some of the Joomla and SEO myths that go hand in hand with Joomla, and also hopefully introducing some new search engine optimization techniques that you can do with your Joomla website. For today, we have the presenters. Max Lynam is presenting a 10-minute SEO and conversion makeover in 15 minutes. Mike is going to be introducing and presenting why Joomla is good for SEO, and Ruth is hopefully going to be joining us shortly, and she's going to be presenting identifying problems with SEO. And they're going to last about 15 minutes each presentation, with the Q&A session after each one again should last about 5 minutes. So the Hangout itself should last probably approximately about 1 hour. Just a few quick mentions before we get started, and Max makes the first presentation. I've had a request off of Hilary Chain on Twitter. She's at HillsChain, and she's asked me to say that the second Joomla Ignite at the Joomla World Conference in Cancun is taking place, obviously in Cancun when everyone's there. And if anybody wants to get involved with that, if they can go to joomlaignite.com, sign up, and then you can do a presentation and do show off your fantastic talents that we have in the Joomla community. Secondly, I want to just thank Irfan Musani. Thank you very much for organising the presenters for this Hangout. And finally, I'd like to introduce the Joomla Community Google Plus team that we now have on board. There's myself, Russell English, who's one of the hosts. Isidra Baquero is another one of the co-hosts that's going to be joining. Max, who's on the line and about to be presenting in a second, he's one of the new co-hosts as well. Peter Buey from the Joomla Beat podcast, and Brad Markle, and they're all going to be presenting and co-hosting Hangouts from now on. And also Irfan Musani, who is the presenter organizer, and Path08 is the second presenter organizer. So Max, are you there on the line?
Yep, is my microphone working?
Okay, I think Max is having a few issues with his microphone this afternoon, so hopefully they'll.
It's not working again.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'll pass over to you, Max. I'll be monitoring it anyway. There's a Q&A session. There's a Q&A app that I've added to this Hangout. So if you've got any questions as you go through, please just add them to the questions on YouTube, and then they'll show up on the screen as well. So hopefully, Max, technically, over to you. You're on.
Cool. How are we going? Can you hear me?
Can hear you just about, yeah.
Just about hear me. Okay. So hopefully everyone can hear me. Hello from Australia. I seem to be having trouble with the microphone, and I'm going through to the Hangout at the moment. So apologies if it isn't working too well. I'm going to be doing a quick cover over some of the really basic SEO stuff that you can do in Joomla, and some tricks and bits and pieces that we use with our own sites and that for clients. And hopefully you'll get at least a few good snippets of information to help you go off and do SEO on your website a lot better. 11:30 at night here, almost midnight, so I've been awake for 18 hours. Haven't actually fallen asleep yet, but so yeah, hopefully we get through it pretty quickly. Can we change over to my screen?
Sorry, Max, say that again.
Can we change over to my screen?
Yeah, on the Hangout, on the control room, if you've got a screen share just on the left hand side.
Chat. Screen share. There we go. Look at that. share. There we go. And hopefully you can see my screen. Okay, so earlier, it's last month now because it's not September anymore. But last month I wrote an article for the Joomla Community magazine, which had a 10-minute Joomla SEO and Conversion Makeover. I wanted to go through some of the bits and pieces on that and expand on the stuff that I had in that article. If you haven't read it, just go to the site builders area on the Joomla Community Magazine website, and you'll be able to see it. And there's a few links on here to go to as well. Now, for us and what we do, there's Ruth that's just popped on as well. Hello, Ruth.
Hi.
And And so what I'll do, I'll just cover through this and expand on what was in this article to give you a few more points out of it. What we do with our website is that we concentrate on return on investment for our clients all the time. So whenever we're doing any content, marketing, and also the initial planning for our websites, what we do is make sure that we go through and do market research before we start doing anything, so that when we do develop the website and get the content up there and have the right categories and so forth, that structure is all based around the type of keywords and what that target market's actually looking for. I've got a list here, or a link here to a Google search that has a heap of free resources. You can see my internet, it's really fast at the moment. You can see a heap of free competitive research tools that will allow you to go through and pick out keywords that are highly searched and of high value that you can use around your planning for your website and for your content, and also for any campaigns that you're running monthly, bi-monthly, or however you're doing that with your clients for yourself. We use some paid tools as well. Obviously, if it's free, you won't have as much functionality as some of the paid tools, but there's still a lot there that allows you to be able to do that research and get there. The important thing about the keywords, of course, is that you have keyword-rich content to attract your customers, because if those keywords and that content is not on your website, when people go in and search for those terms, your site won't be one of the ones that comes up in the search results. The other thing that I've got here is the next important thing is actually, once they get to your website, is getting them to convert. One of the important things that people do on websites is having call to action buttons, and also having A/B testing to see which call to actions and which parts of their website are doing great stuff. I just wanted to show you a very quick trick that I didn't have in this article on how to do some of that. And in Joomla, under your components, there's an area called banners, and under there you've got clients, which if you've got external clients that you're doing ads on your site, that's fine. We use clients generally to run around campaigns. So what you can do is say you've got campaign one client, and that allows you to set up what things you're going to show for there. You can have categories, and of course there's the banners as well. And some of the options underneath the banners allows you to have images, or it allows you to also have custom stuff there as well. Your links, where it goes to, alt text, type, all of that sort of stuff. And it also shows you how many impressions, how many clicks there were on there, and it allows you to track all of the impressions and the clicks. Now, if you do the same thing, you have banner 1, banner 2, which allows you to say, this is my A case and this is my B case. And where are we? site, so it's normal web people. You can see here it comes in as a module, and it's a banners module. I'll just click on that, and I'll show you what comes up in here. And so it allows you to have a target which says open in pop-up, open in new window, or open in the parent window, then the window that you're looking at. Allows you to select the campaign or the client that you're using for it. And the count is how many banners you'll show in the banner. So for a normal A/B testing, if we were using this tool to be able to do that, we just have one there. Categories, searching by keywords if you've got lots of banners. You've got your normal module assignment. Permissions. This one I've just got some bootstrap classes in there. That's a secondary extension to automate bootstrap classes, and then you've got a margin that you can add around here, so you don't even have to worry about writing extra CSS code. And then once that's placed on the page, you can see over here, I'll go into this page. I know it's up the top here. You can see I've got banner A/B test, which is what I had as the header, and then there's these different. So I've already loaded the page. You can see it's set to random, so it's just going to randomly show those A/B banners up at the top there. You can see that one comes up there as a different A/B banner, and you can click on that. Oops, it's come up over another window. There you go. It comes up as a pop-up here. But if we go back into now our banners here, we can actually track the performance of both the impressions and also the actual clicks and sort it over time. And so here you can see there's 10 impressions there with 2 clicks and 12 impressions there of banner 2 with 1 click. Once you get up to, a few hundred, a few thousand impressions and the click-throughs, gives you really good information on what type of buttons or banners or call to action are actually going to deliver your clients the best results. So this is an inbuilt bit of SEO and conversion optimization that's in Joomla that allows you to be able to do A/B testing on site without having to do anything. And the important thing to note is that it's not just images, you can have whatever you want in there. So if I go back into this banner one here, this is just set as image at the moment, but you can also have custom. So you can have custom code of whatever custom code you want in there. So it can be a full, sign up form, it can be whatever you want it to happen to be able to track those conversions properly. So that's a really good, useful thing that's built into Joomla for you're ready to go. And then number 3 I've got here in this article is obviously ranking higher. Everyone wants to rank higher in search engine results. Yes.
Can I just jump in very, very quickly? Sorry, I think there's been a couple of issues with connecting and so on. We've managed to resolve the connection issues, but I think a lot of people are saying that your just microphone sort of, you can't really understand, you can't really hear what you're saying.
Okay.
Can I? What I'm going to do, I'm going to just for the time being, if you can try and look at resolving your mic issue, if that's all right. And then, Mike, are you on the line?
Yep.
Okay. If I can pass over to you to do your presentation, and it's why Joomla is good for SEO.
Yeah. Okay. I will start. I really do think that it is not easy to explain why Joomla is good for SEO, because it is. It's simple, it is fast, it is open source, easy to set up, easy to use for end users, intuitive, and has everything. At the beginning we had several problems with duplicators, but it was like 9 years ago, right? Today we can. I think the Max wants to say something. I don't know. Max. Okay. So basically, I have done a lot of SEO templates for Joomla, and when I have to do some SEO job, it is not easy to choose because there is many templates which are really good. Even how am I live?
Yes, you are. Yeah.
I'm okay. So I don't know. Joomla is, for me at least, incredibly important and a big part of my SEO story. Whenever I want to punish competition, to be first, even in 200 million results, I have done that easily. They were all in Drupal, WordPress, and other CMSs, but it was really easy to beat the competition even in a very short time. I noticed the strange thing, but that's only me, that Google is sometimes giving advantage to open source, but that's only me. It's not something which other would claim. And whenever it would recognize that the Joomla WordPress or Drupal, it would give some plus, let's say. And whenever I used Joomla, it was like I was busting competition in real sense. Joomla, there is a bad myth about Joomla that it is bad for SEO because we have problems with categories and we have this duplicate content some time ago. But now I don't see that there is anything else left regarding that. Of course, there is some components which are not easy to do some to make customized rules as we want, alias or whatever. But anyway, for me it is premium CMS. I would even pay for it, to be honest. I know very well, even WordPress, and we work a lot with Drupal, and we tried even new this CMS, but Joomla is still far number one. And what to say else, I don't know, except to speak about optimization per se. So it is very easy to make alias, meta description. Meta keywords are not important for 2 years anymore, except for Yahoo. If someone cares, there is redirects. You got even to tweak just your htaccess file. I mean, to change the dot and maybe to add redirection from www to none or to full all. So it is, for me, I mean, really easy to start to do SEO with it. Template is template, any template. Even if you are making pure HTML site or Joomla template, it is same rules. You must have H1, titles, content, and everything else is just SEO, pure SEO. So regarding Joomla, I just really don't understand why so many myths exist today, and I really do think we must do a lot of more to promote Joomla as good for SEO. So that's it from my side. I don't know, did I talk 5 or less minutes or 10? You know, you can make me questions later and I can answer, but that would be it.
Thanks, Mike. Do you think, obviously, with regards to the myths and things that are obviously associated with SEO myths and so on that are associated with Joomla, do you think a lot of those are from when Joomla was in its sort of infancy state of 1.0 and so on? Do you think a lot of those myths have been passed on from that?
No, yeah, but it was more from the end user who didn't want to learn Joomla. Even in that time, when we had some trouble with canonical rules, with duplicate content, I managed very easily to make everything working smoothly. And I really do think the end user who didn't understand how to make articles, categories, they wanted always subcategories. We have in one time category and one subcategory, something like that. And they hated that, and all that was like, not understanding the Joomla. But now it is much easier to just click and have all that, like enable it, and that's it. You have even less job to do regarding WordPress. Now in WordPress you must go to make category, to make URL to look like you want. So in Joomla it is less job. Rename HT access and enable SEO. That's all. And I really think that it was not understanding from the end users who just started to learn SEO. In that time, WordPress was faster, easier, and it is not object-oriented, and that was the plus in that time, for big plus for the beginners.
Yeah, I think the only thing that was a really big problem that sort of, people thought was a big problem was the fact that there was article numbers in the URL if they aren't set a specific URL by a menu item for a view. So, that's still there, but it's not actually a problem as far as SEO is concerned in any way.
I think I understood you, but your microphone is still.
Yeah, not good.
Well, it was more ignorance than anything else. Before 8-9 years to get really nice SEO, you have to do more job in Joomla than in WordPress, to be honest. Now there is no excuse. Last 5 years, Joomla is doing great. And I can really show by example where in 20 days I beat all competition in 20 days in 200 million results. I'm not joking. It is all in Google, so you can see. With simple Joomla site, there is no even SEF component there. There is nothing. There is just usual articles, text, and normal links from many. So. Yeah. So we should really do something. Yeah. Too.
No. Sorry, no. Thanks very much, Mike. So what I'll do, I'm gonna I'll open it up obviously for questions and so on and things like that. If anybody has any questions, you've got the Q&A app on the left-hand side. If you're watching on Google Hangouts. If you're watching on YouTube, there should be on the YouTube video, should be just a little link at the bottom. If you click on that, that'll take you through to the Hangouts. I know we've had a couple of connection issues and so on. But for now, Mike, thank you very much. Until the questions come flooding in, I'm going to pass over to Ruth, if that's okay. Max, I'm going to have to just let wonderful face instead, if that's all right. And Ruth, I'll just pass over to yourself. I've got those slides. Thanks very much. So I'll share those in a second. And yes, so thanks very much, Mike, and over to you, Ruth. You're on. Oh, we can't hear you either. Oh no. I think he seems to be having a few issues today.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Ruth,
at the moment, just to give you a little bit of background, she's in a hotel room in Ascot somewhere, ready for the Joomla Day UK 2014. Ruth, can you hear? I'm assuming you can hear me, but can't hear you.
I can do a promo for Joomla Day Sydney. Joomla Day Sydney in with just over a week. take the trip to Australia. It's awesome.
Okay, so
I'm assuming you still can't hear me.
no, we can hear it. You're coming and going. You are coming and going. All right, so Irfan, you're on the line, aren't you? Is it only mics and my microphone's working today? This is good. All right, so what we'll do? I think we're having a few sort of mic issues today. I have the presentation here from Ruth, and let's just try Ruth one more time. I think she's offline for now. We've got her just joined again. So.
Can you hear me now?
Hey, there you are. Hello.
Okay, let me just hang up in the other one.
Okay. He loves technology, eh?
Yeah, sorry, we literally only just arrived before.
No problem at all. Okay, so so what I'll do then, Ruth, Ruth at the time was presenting on or dialing in, I believe, on a tablet. Is that right? Is that correct, Ruth?
Yep.
Right.
So let me just get my slides up, and then I'll be. Sorry.
No, you're fine. So do you need me to share my screen then for your slides still or not?
That would be really helpful if you can. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Okay. So so this is Ruth Cheesley live from a hotel room in Ascot somewhere.
Yeah.
And let me know when you want me to control the slides, and I'll pass over to yourself for the introduction.
Sure. Okay, so I was just going to talk a little bit about how you can identify problems with search engine optimization, because it's often something that we find is that people don't realize that there's a problem until it's become catastrophic and they've disappeared out of search listings. But there's some tools you can use just to keep an eye on things, really, and to have it tell you when there's a problem rather than wait for you to have to be fighting fires. So there's 4 things I would just say before I start talking about this. The first thing is that you should always play by the rules anyway. So you should always be following the Google's best practice guidelines and not doing naughty things, because that will most of the time prevent you from having problems. The other one is, you can put the next slide on, Max. The other one is listening to updates from Google. So when they tell you they're changing something, they're telling you that for a reason. So it's a really good idea to listen to what they say and to actually understand what that means for your website. The next point I would say is that it's really important to monitor your sites. So all of the sites that you're responsible for looking after, especially if there are sites that you set up and then you leave and you don't do anything with, because it's very easy for them to get hacked or compromised, and then you don't know, you don't realize. So just setting up monitoring only takes a few minutes. And you can also set up alerts in Google Analytics, which will actually email you if something happens. So there's an increase in 404 traffic, or there's a decrease in organic traffic. So it will actually tell you that there's a potential problem. You can also get all kinds of other emails from Analytics that will help you with that. So the first thing I would say is you need to monitor your sites to be able to identify problems happening. If you go to the next slide, Max, there are free tools that you can use to monitor your sites. The main ones that I would recommend everybody sign up with is Google Webmaster tools and Google Analytics. And those allow you to do kind of ongoing tracking and ongoing alerts. Majestic SEO has quite a few free tools available, which allows you to just look at the link profile and to look at whether there's anything strange going on with your link profile, so the sites that are linking to you and from you, because that can also identify problems that might have happened before. If you've paid someone to do SEO and they haven't really done it by the rules, that can give you some ideas, and the same is true of Ahrefs. There are some paid tools that we often use, but you don't have to use them, but they do tend to be useful because they bring everything into one place. So they bring in your analytics, your AdWords, your social tracking. They bring in all the information about your site health. So it's kind of saves time. So if you're happy to pay money to save time, then they are quite useful. And there's just a couple there, but there are quite a lot of them out there. So Webmaster Tools is really a basic one to set up. To set up your sites, all you have to do is just put in the URL on Webmaster Tools. So you go to google.com/webmasters. And once you register the site, you can either authenticate it by connecting it with an analytics account if you've got analytics running already, or you just have to drop a file in the root directory. If you go to the next slide now, I would say make sure that you set up a rule in your mail client to flag messages from Webmaster Tools as urgent, because mine tend to disappear into the deep, dark depths of my inbox and don't actually get read. So it's a good idea to make sure that you are actually receiving those emails and you action them, rather than just have them festering at the bottom of a overflowing inbox. And also something that people don't often do is to register the non-www and the www domain, especially if you haven't had a rewrite in place to force one or the other, because what you can do then is you can actually tell Google which one you want it to favour. And pay attention to, in Webmaster Tools, once you've set it up, there's a lot of information, but the main ones regarding SEO are crawl errors and site speed. So crawl errors will tell you when it's picked up problems with the page, and site speed will tell you if there's a problem with your hosting or a problem with your site in loading. So slow sites mean a poor user experience, which can mean that you appear lower in the rankings. If you can go to the next slide. The next slide just shows some URL errors. And you can see at the top there were 24,404 errors, I think it was. And that had to be addressed. That was a significant problem, and that was causing the site to be de-indexed. So this kind of information is available to you in Webmaster Tools. If you use Webmaster Tools, it will tell you there's a problem here. We're noticing an increase in 404s, or we're noticing an increase in server errors, which might suggest that there's a problem with your site, or you've broken PHP and it's not loading, so it's giving a 500 error. It'll also tell you if you're using outdated versions of Joomla now. So if you've got this set up on a 1.5 site, it will alert people to say that they're using a deprecated version. So the next slide gives you some really useful tools that you can use in analytics. Now, analytics has something called dashboards, and that lets you see lots of information in one place. And we use this very heavily. They're free, so you can install them from a gallery, and there's a whole package of different ones. The ones that we use quite heavily tell you information about the load time, tells you information about popular pages, the sources that you're getting traffic from, but you can also install some SEO dashboards that give you information specifically about issues related to SEO. And so the next dashboard shows, the next slide shows setting up a custom alert, or sorry, a custom segment. And what that does is when you look at analytics, you're looking at all your traffic, everything that's coming into the site. But we know when something happens like a 404, that there's a very specific page usually that it lands on. In this site in particular, the page title was 404, exactly 404. So what we've done is set up a segment here. We only want to see when the page title equals 404. And that allows you to actually set up an alert, set up a rule that will trigger when there's an increase in 404 traffic. So you could say, I want to know if there's more than a 10% increase in a week based on the last week's traffic, which would suggest that somebody's taken off a page they shouldn't have done, or there's a problem with the link that's been posted somewhere. So that's another way that can be used. And the next slide shows you about site speed. These are all views that you can see in analytics, and I go into a bit more depth on this in another presentation, which I can share later. So it tells you if specific pages are having trouble loading. So say you've got a lovely slidey carousel widget on a page, but it's causing that page to take 20 seconds to load or whatever, then you would want to know about that so you can troubleshoot it and look into what's causing the problem. So those are a couple of ways that you can pick up on developing SEO issues, both at a global site level but also at a level of specific pages. There are other tools that you can use to look at the link profile, but those are a bit more complicated to explain in 15 minutes, unfortunately. So what you can do is actually put your URL into tools like Majestic, and it will give you an idea of the number of links that come into your site and go out of your site, and over time. So you can look and see if there's any unnatural spikes. You would expect to see just a gradual increase going up, but often if there's been problems with SEO in the past, or you've paid for SEO in the past, you'll see very big spikes going up if it's not been done properly, where a site might have been added to lots of directories, or there could be other issues, and that gives you an idea about what might be happening in your organic SEO if you can't rank for a particular keyword. So you can start with that and look at all those sites and maybe look at getting removed from them. But the basic summary is set up all your sites on Webmaster tools. If you're particularly worried about issues like unnatural activity and link building, then you can use these other tools as well. There is a section on the Joomla documentation that has got all of this information on it. docs.joomla.org/SEO. It comes off of the SEO portal. So if you'd like to find out more information, you can go there and find a lot of the notes from the talks that I've given at various events about this. So I hope that's helpful, and if there's any questions, I'm happy to take them. I can't hear you, Max.
My fault, sorry. Yeah, thanks very much for that. So presumably that presentation, is that presentation online somewhere?
Yeah, it's one that I did at the World Conference last year. I can put the slides up online and share it. But as I say, all the notes are on docs.joomla.org, so there's an SEO portal that I've put together over the years.
All right, great. Okay, thank you. And we don't appear to have many questions coming at the moment. The only person who seems to have used the Q&A app is Helvecio de Silva, just by saying hello to everyone.
Hello, Helvecio.
Yeah, thank you very much for now, Ruth. And I'm going to try and hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to be able to get Max back. Max, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Is it coming through at all?
Fantastic.
Yeah, much better.
Sound glorious. Right, are you all right to run through your presentation?
I'm not going to restart. But just as a quick summary to go back over, because people may have seen my screen but couldn't hear what I was saying. I was saying that banners is a good way of running A to B tests with an inbuilt tool in Joomla that's already there that allows you to see what call to actions and so forth can work on your website, whether it be just an image that they click through or whether it's a full HTML component that you put into the module that they click through. You can actually track your A to B testing on Joomla using the banner component that's already there. I think I covered a couple of other things as well, but if you couldn't hear me, well, yeah, that wasn't very useful probably. But what I'll do, I'll go back over and share my screen onto the next area. And what I was going to cover, I hope you're still hearing me okay, was the things about ranking higher and optimizing your content that you write on your website using Joomla and a couple of little tools that I like to use as well. Same as what Ruth was saying, is use your free tools and so forth to do your discovery on your keywords and your competitors. There's a link on that article with it was on the Joomla Community Magazine in September. There's a link to a whole heap of free tools to the competitor research and your keyword research. Once you've worked out your competitor research and you've got your keywords that you want to be able to market around, there's a couple of useful plugins that I use as well to help ourselves and clients. One of them's this tool here, it's a paid download, and another one's an SEO generator, which is two tools that we use to help us get optimized content and SEO friendly articles done. And I'll just show you how they work here and how we utilize them for those people that want to do it. Of course, when you're writing your articles, as I said in the magazine write-up, was that you do have your normal stuff in behind here, where you've got your meta description, meta keywords, your robot setting, and that type of stuff that's in there, which is your basic SEO stuff. But the problem is that it's not always easy to be able to write a relevant meta description or meta keywords based on what your article is. And so, say for example, this is the JB SEO checklist. One of the things that we do down here, if we wanted to say what our article is going to be about, is about Joomla. And there's settings that allow us to make sure that we've got our keywords at good density, highlighted in titles, in the description, and in the description meta tags. And it refreshes every 10 seconds or so, and it has an SEO check. So if we go up here, we can say Joomla is cool for SEO. And we can go Joomla SEO like this about Joomla, and we can see here we have a score that comes up under these different bits and pieces. And you can see some of the scores that come up here. I'll go on SEO check again. And this goes, I've got my main keyword that's in strong, bold, or italic because Google recognizes that. The keyword density is around 3%, which is a little bit under what I wanted it to be. And all these other bits and pieces that are able to be set. And you can see I've got a score here on 22%. And one of the reasons that it's not getting me that is because I haven't got keywords or descriptions over here. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to save this article now. And you can see all of a sudden, just when I saved it, all of a sudden I went up to 44.4%, even though there's only that much content. And whilst this isn't an absolute tool, it's actually a very good one to make you write better content. And so you can see here it's got main keyword in description and main keyword in meta tags. And hang on a sec, we didn't have any of that because it was blank a minute ago. And what you can see over here is that the Joomla meta description has auto-filled in and the meta keywords has auto-filled in. And what we used is this SEO generator. And I'll just show you what it's doing here. And what it does, it has a whole heap of options on automatically generated meta tags, titles, and keywords that it inserts in. So every time you save an article, what it does is rewrites those keywords and so forth if you clear out the box. And so what we do, and it allows you to have the Google Webmaster verification key here too. Been using this plugin for a few years. And what it does is each time you want to rewrite your article and get yourself better SEO is if I go and do that, I'm just going to change this again, get rid of that content here, and I'm going to change that into a H1 there, and save this all again. What you can see is because I've got that out, this is going to recheck again. I'm now up to 55.6%. It's still got some stuff that it's suggesting that would be good things for us to have. Obviously, we haven't got an image with alt text, but if we go back over to here, you can see this is Joomla, and SEO called Joomla. And what this does, I make my clients write content based on this. And what they do is keep rewriting the article. So if it's a 800 word article or a 600 word article, the best way to do it is to keep rewriting the article until it generates the right keywords and meta description that you like for the keywords that you're targeting. So that if you've got it correct, you'll get all the right keywords and meta description stuff coming up here automatically. And this will go up to about 70–80% or greater is generally what we sort of try and aim for here. And if we just go into here, and I'll close out, I'll give you a quick look at this, the back end of our SEO checklist. And you can see it's got a whole heap of options that you can set in here for which things you're going to check against and which things you want to optimize against, and also the keyword density and whether you're doing keyword density checking for that main keyword. And so that's one of the really great tools that we've got there. And of course there's on top of that you've got your normal Joomla microdata that's being implemented into Joomla since 3.31, I think. That's been getting pushed more and more out into the core release, so that you'll have your meta tags coming up there. And then there's other things that you can have as well, such as making sure that you've got the correct social meta tags. This is a little plugin that we've got that does social meta tags, so that for mobile devices, how you've got business listings when you're on a mobile device, and that shows you what the address is, and it's got the phone number and the web address, and you want to click through to it quickly. Extensions like this one will allow you to insert that into the meta tags on your website, so that your listings will come up with rich content and automatically mapped and so forth on maps and stuff, especially useful for mobile phones. Google Plus stuff on here, Facebook as well, which has all the stuff of their pages for Facebook, and of course your Twitter cards and so forth that you've got there as well. So that's another thing that's going to help your SEO a lot on that type of thing. And on here as well, I also have put here a SEO rich web page content template, which is a basic template for people to be able to download and use as a basis for writing their articles and so forth. So it gives them a little checklist to go through. And yeah, that sort of finishes me off on where I was up to. Hopefully you could hear me through all of that. My microphone was working. And everyone's still there. Is there any questions?
We don't appear to have any questions at the moment. But what I'll do, if that's all right with you, once obviously we go off air, I'll put this as the I'll put that link that you just tweeted for the 10-minute Joomla SEO and Conversion Makeover written by. I'll put that into the description if that's all right for this.
Yep.
Okay, excellent. Well, I don't think we have. If I just check the Q&A app, I don't think we've got any more questions. Well, we've got any questions actually. So I know we had a few connection issues at the beginning with people, but hopefully you'll be able to watch this back, or you'll be watching this back at the moment on YouTube, and it's obviously going to be stored on YouTube for the indefinite future anyway. And so all I want to say is just quickly to thank you very much, Max, and if you're the end of your presentation was very, very good.
It was just the first bit when the microphone wasn't working. It was sort of crappy.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Oh, actually, we just have one question very quickly coming from Bridget Anderson. What was the name of the last tool? I'm assuming we're
social media. Social media. Yeah.
So there's this one here is a social meta tags plugin. I think that's probably what we were talking about, and that's actually one a free plugin that Joomla.com deliver with their templates. So anyone who's on Joomla can get that one by just being a member. And we've sort of got that one and a few others that we just distribute out and advise people that it's a really great idea to install them when you set up your website, because otherwise it's not going to be optimized.
Right. Okay. Okay. So they're, you have to be a Joomla member to get access to those.
At the moment, yes.
And there's no way we can sort of push you forward to providing those.
Oh, look, you never know. I'll have a chat to Phil about it and see what we do. We do already have a few extensions on the Joomla website which are free and free to download, but this is one that we haven't even got listed on the website. It's just one of the ones that we distribute out with products.
Yeah. Yeah, I got you. Okay, well, hopefully, Bridget, that's answered your question. So, yeah, so thanks very much, Max. As always, good to talk to you. And Mike, are you still on the line?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay, well, just again, just I don't think we can see you anymore, but just thanks very much for your presentation and for your.
And thanks for coming on, Ruth. We hope to see you at Joomla Day Sydney.
Well,
there we go.
It might be a bit of a tight,
about a week's time.
It might be a bit of a tight turnaround because I'm at the Grasshopper conference after Joomla Day in America.
No problems.
And finally, thanks very much, Ruth. I know you've sort of had a bit of a travelling day today, so yeah, thanks very much for joining us.
No problem.
And I hope Joomla Day UK goes well.
And Sydney.
Yeah.
And Sydney, yes.
Joomla
Day UK this weekend, and when's Sydney's next week?
It's 8 days or 9 days away.
Right.
So Friday and Saturday next week.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, thanks very much, everyone, for joining in. And if also, just for those people who didn't hear it at the beginning, Hilary Chain on Twitter has asked me to get for people to get involved with the second Joomla Ignite at the Joomla World Conference in Cancun. And if you want more details of that, if you go to joomlaignite.com, you'll be able to sign up there, and then you can show off your skills and talent and so on at the Joomla Ignite. So yeah, so thanks very much, everyone, and it's good to hear from you all, and we'll see you next month. Thanks.
Thanks, Max. Thanks for organising it, Russell.
Bye bye. Ciao, ciao.
Bye bye.
Bye.